the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. And welcome back to another episode of SPTV, where every literal day of the week, you guys, we ask ourselves the same goddamn question. What is Scientology so afraid of? Well, what could it be, you guys? What could it be? Definitely this documentary that we've been reviewing that was definitely extremely damning, because back in 1999, there was actually more being confronted on what is being done inside of these hotels than even our current state of affairs, you guys. Scientology has been very, very good at sweeping all manner of things under the rug. And yep, credit when credit is due. You guys, credit when credit is due. Scientology's Office of Special Affairs, which has been instrumental to giving a lifeline to the sham 501c that definitely got propped up for all manner of people to help themselves and for all manner of adults to live out their wildest fantasies, all aided and abetted and facilitated by the Office of Special Affairs. So we are going to be reviewing what is on the public record, you guys. So easily accessible is all of this information that we have, because documentaries have been made, newspaper articles have been written about the RPF, about kids in the RPF. And one little thing that we are going to get into today is, an alleged confrontation with semi-automatic weapons. So buckle your seatbelts, guys, because we are definitely going to see a lot of receipts. And definitely grab your notebook, grab y'all's notebook and sit down and start writing down your questions, or don't write it on your notebook, just write it here on the comments. We have the great Case in the house and Joe Spring, who are our wonderful moderators today that are going to help us navigate. So I thank you guys all for joining us, and definitely it's time to sharpen up our critical thinking skills, you guys. So definitely, take this opportunity to sharpen yours so that y'all can start asking your own questions, and you can start making your own conclusions based on the video receipts that we're going to watch and see. So we left it off here. So let's continue reviewing this media audit.
Pure luxury made possible by the RPF. Zero labor costs and $300,000 in donations for a private music studio, wardroom, and fitness center, all for the comfort of David Miscavige.
If he decides that something needs to look a certain way, well, then that's how it looks. If he decides that things need to be done in a certain way, then that's how they are done. It is by his will, because he's the boss.
So I just want to add a little bit of context, guys, because that has been the pitch of every last protege of L Ron Hubbard, that was with David. All of them were there at the same time. Jesse Prince was there. Mike Rinder was there. Marty Rathman was there. All of these amigos having a power struggle because they were all trying to prop up this 501c because they really thought that they were going to save the world. And as much as they want to paint and portray David as the only one who was into the slave role play, it couldn't be more false. It couldn't be more watered down. It couldn't be more convenient for the senior executives. Okay, you guys. So just so you know, Scientology's org board is like that, right? Like here's David Miscavige. And then all you need to know, you guys, is that all of these guys here are just senior executives right underneath him. So they're all in the same thing. As much as they pretend to be one over here, one over here. No, they're all together the senior executives. So as much as they really have gone out of their way to blab and blab and blab, like only David had slaves for himself. All the people that were in senior positions put themselves there to be slave masters. They all recruited their own slaves. They all organized their own slaves. They all had, including but not limited to underage kids, literally in this new Florida federal court lawsuit where Valeska Paris was tapped to be ironing all their shirts, to be washing, to be doing all manner of ridiculous things. So as much as all of these executives want to sell you the story about how they didn't have slaves, they were just some, abuse goody two-shoes that really wanted to save the world and, really wanted to accomplish that. It's like, it's just not the facts. It's just not the facts. It's true. David, we already said, top of the pyramid scheme is David. But the other executives, and just so that they cannot play dumb, you guys, let's just show them the policy that they all have to go clear for themselves. It's called the power formula. Okay, so L Ron Hubbard really did take it upon himself to be like, oh, Simon Boulevard, if only he would have deputized people, then he could have kept control of everything. So inside the hotel, the policy is David Miscavige is Simon Boulevard, but then Shelly Miscavige is his deputy. Mike Rinder is his deputy. Marty Rathman is his deputy. Richard Reese is his deputy. Debbie Cook is his deputy. Angie Blankenship is his deputy. Jenny Linson is his deputy. All of them are deputized. So as much as they purport to not be working in a conspiracy organized, it couldn't be more of a fake, watered down pitch for adults that find it inconvenient what they were all about when they were there having a jolly old time. And as soon as something bad happens to them, they go, wah, wah, wah. I'm a child. I need to be cradled and canoodled. I need to be rescued. And David is such a bad person. And David and David and David. And they cannot get the word David out of their mouth, you guys. And no accountability will ever be reached if all of these people that were there for decades, co-founders of the movement, the people that took it upon themselves to really mastermind. So how can we really pitch this to the IRS so they really believe that we really want to do a lot of nonprofit work? What type of false pitch do we need to put together? Oh yeah, just invent Narcanon, invent Criminon, invent Applied scholastics, invent that you want to help educate the world, invent that you want to really help the drug addicts, invent that you really want to help the criminal. So all of these mastermind plans put into place, not by L Ron Hubbard, you guys. Remember, he was already way deep down, getting eaten by literal disgusting worms where he deserved to die. That disgusting degenerate that was high out of his mind, pulling things out of his ass, and all his proteges going goo goo gaga for him, all his proteges relinquishing all critical thinking skills for themselves, you guys. So David is not the only one who relinquished all his critical thinking skills. So did Marty, so did Angie, so did Ann Rathbun, so did all of them. And that is why they're so implicated, and that is why they're so corrupt. And that is the beginning and the end of the dysfunction of all the Scientology executives who sit on the sidelines pretending that they had nothing to do with what in the hell they were all doing. In this third and final installment of our media audit, we are going to meticulously dissect the 1999 German documentary Happy Valley on the disturbing reality of the Scientology Rehabilitation Project Force. Today, we shine a spotlight on shocking revelations brought to light by Jesse Prince, particularly the unsettling fact that the executives within the organization possessed semi-automatic weapons. Jesse Prince's first-hand accounts provide a chilling glimpse into the inner workings of Scientology, where high-ranking individuals were allegedly armed with semi-automatic rifles provided to them by L Ron Hubbard, as alleged by Prince. This raises serious questions about the nature of the organization and its actual true intention. In what literal MF world, you guys, are all of these religious do-gooders that really want to save the world armed to the teeth? Because that would be a very good question for them to start answering. Since you really wanted to save the whole world, why were you arming yourselves to the MF teeth? The very notion that executives, those entrusted with leadership, obsessed with staffing their hotels with minors, wielded such weaponry, raises alarms and demands a closer examination of the level of derangement and lawlessness that has been enabled to proliferate inside these hotels and commercial buildings operated by a band of self-proclaimed executives that only have one thing in common. All of them are fanatical followers of the late convicted indicted felon L Ron Hubbard. Our analysis delves into the complexities of intervening with adults who willingly entangled themselves with Scientology, positioning themselves as willing pawns in executing the bidding of L Ron Hubbard blindly and navigating everything with -0 critical thinking skills for themselves. We explore the nuances of individual agency, the boundaries of intervention, and the ethical considerations surrounding those who were willingly implicating themselves in this disgusting scheme. Furthermore, we will unravel more shocking revelations surrounding the utterly criminal operations orchestrated by the Office of Special Affairs, founded by none other than L Ron Hubbard's publicist and cleaner-upper, Mike Rinder. Rinder, the so-called watchdog and founder of this highly corrupt office, has not has not been scrutinized with the details, and it becomes evident that the criminal actions are occurring in plain sight, challenging the very fabric of legality and morality for all the people that are implicating themselves in this highly corrupt behavior, and yet are still at it, PRing their way through new ways to grift while purporting to save the world again. Jesse Prince calls out the criminal modus operandi relating to activities and actions in a culture of abuse and corruption perpetrated by all Scientology executives. The levels of corruption extend through the entire organization. And last but not least, we're going to hear about disturbing revelations that those in the upper echelons found it laughable that their subordinates believed in the organization's teaching, which only deepens the sense of betrayal and total scammer ways by all of those involved, implicated by aiding and abetting all manner of unthinkable atrocities, covering up this racketeering criminal conspiracy. In this concluding segment, we confront the stark reality that the organization, as portrayed in this documentary Happy Valley, is rife with corruption, criminality, and callous disregard for the well-being of any and all underage kids. Join us as we grapple with the implications of those shocking revelations, pushing for accountability and transparency. In the face of an organization funded by a convicted indicted felon and co-founded by fanatical proteges of his that were only interested in making plans on how to traffic minors at an industrial-sized scale and get government fully implicated in helping them prop up a fake 501c scheme that they all worked so hard to get accomplished. Our only question left is, but why? Why was this allowed to happen? And why has all of this continued to be our reality as of this year, 2024? Because that is literally where we are today, you guys. In present time, 2024, nothing has changed at all.
The magnificent villa behind the wrought iron fans, a lifestyle which includes a swimming pool, guest house, tennis courts, and private movie theater. Luxury in a high security area.
The security there is quite phenomenal. They have the fences where they have ground sensors, where even if you walk near the fence, they know it. Lights start coming on in the complex. They have night vision cameras, night vision scopes, and they had a location, it says,
I mean, just that photo alone, you guys. I mean, they do say a picture tells 1,000 words. So for sure, we would love to hear from all the executives why this type of barbed wire is right in front of your so-called church. And since now we know that y'all were also hoarding guns inside there, that'd be great to start understanding what in the literal hell type of church you all were running. Right, you guys? Because you know what? It's not like the ATF is not really now having to get involved over all the crazy stuff that's coming up with Danny's guns. So all manner of weird stuff is what the Scientologists are about in terms of guns as well. So I'm not going to divert on that subject, but suffice it to say that there's plenty other Scientologists out there that have illegal weapons, that transported such illegal weapons across state lines. And I would know because I have photographic evidence of that. So it's really, really disgusting and lawless what in the hell is going on, and in what world is a fence like this, the literal photograph of what it means to be a very religious person. Who are they protecting? Or how are they protecting themselves like this? And why would they need to protect themselves like this if they're such do-gooders?
A mountain behind there, a little hill. They had an area up there called Eagle, where someone is constantly watching over the property all the time, a security guard, and they rotated his video and everything. I know these things because I helped set up the security there. Ooh, you're talking about reaping what you sow. No. And then they have these nice looking fences where you can't hardly see, but if you touch it, it cuts your hand. You bleed like crazy. It's like razor sharp on the top, so that if you try to come over. The international management of Scientology, that is the area, CSI, Church of Scientology International, which operates and micromanages all of its other corporations, such as Flag Service Organization here in Clearwater, where we are, is micromanaged from the CSI Corporation at Gilman Hot Springs. The facility that they have in Los Angeles is micromanaged by the facility in Gilman. The facility that they have in Europe is micromanaged by the facility that they have in Gilman Hot Springs. In other words, any area that produces a sufficient amount of income is micromanaged from the Gilman Hot Springs location.
Good night.
I was put in RPF. It was in Happy Valley, just down the road from Gilman Hot Springs, their Golden Arrow location on the Indian reservation. Yeah, passed through the suburban Indian reservation.
Who assigned you to the RPF?
David Miscavige.
David Miscavige. At Gold.
Yes.
For what reason?
Because I wouldn't go along with his plan to get rid of Pat Nanny Broker. And I refused to do it. I refused to be a part of it. I refused to have anything to do with it. So he said, okay, I'm going to have to get you too. They woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, they love this element of surprise. And by the time I had come to the room, they had already gotten Vicky Azaran, who was supposed to be, quote unquote, the #1 person in all of Scientology. And she was sitting in the corner crying and shaking miserably because they, you know, all of these men had screamed at her, pushed her around, and she was very afraid. And then I came in the room and he says, well, it's over now. You had a chance, you made the wrong choice, and you're going to the RPF. And he told me, you call me sir. I'll never forget it. And I looked at him, I was sitting across the desk. He said, say it, say it, say it. And I got up and I said, fuck you. And I walked out of the room, at which point people tried to grab me, but I had karate training and I knocked them together and they backed off, at which point I ran to my room and got a rifle, a semi-automatic rifle that I had gotten from L Ron Hubbard, because everyone had rifles, semi-automatic, fully automatic rifles, and a .45. And I came back and I said, what do you want to do now?
So there you go, you guys. And as much as Jesse Prince purports that everybody had semi-automatic weapons, guess who didn't have any semi-automatic weapons? The children. The children didn't have semi-automatic weapons that we could have really used at that time to get rid of these people that were literally on top of us. And going back to the same point, why are adults literally pointing guns at each other inside of a church? Semi-automatic weapons that they all have. And yes, we're talking about when Jesse Prince was there, this was before the IRS approved them. They were, you know, very pressed to get the approval, but they were still operating fully. And the point is that later, when I was in the Sea Org, they were going back to the point that no, not everybody had automatic weapons. Only security had the automatic weapons. And they had a lot of them. ton of them, and all the security guards would always be going every week to go train. And guess what? They go train with their little buddies of the Clearwater Police. Imagine that, you guys. Isn't that great? That the Clearwater Police is so buddy-buddy with them that, you know, they'll have little trainings on the side. And, oh, yeah, let's go shooting. Let's really show you how to shoot. Oh, can I pay you to teach my people how to really defend our hotel? Because we're really pressed to defend it because we really need security with guns everywhere because, you know, imagine in all these years, you guys, Scientology has literally overly dramatized any of the crimes that have been committed against them, but they really have nothing in the books to show for anything, you know, other than that horrific Australia death, which did happen from a kid that was autistic that was being abused, and he ended up actually going after a security guard and offing him. And of course, Scientology blamed that all on Leah Remini. Imagine that. There's nothing that these people won't project onto others, you guys. There's just no limits for them. Anything bad that happens to them, it's always, 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 always everyone else's problem. There is no ability to self-reflect. The type of narcissism we're talking about here is systemic, institutionalized AF. And as such, you see the lawlessness, the craziness, the entitlement, the laughing about it as if we're like supposed to be so impressed with, you know, Jesse Prince's karate kicks. Those are the people that were in charge of underage kids, you guys. That's what no one puts together, including the Tampa Bay Times. The same adults that were playing their sick, humiliating game that they have pitched ad nauseum as a one and only thing that everyone needs to cradle and canoodle. Oh yeah, when we all got stuck in that trailer. Well, those people at the top of the food chain were the ones that were in charge of all the minors underneath them. Don't worry about it. Shelley and David had their own minors. So don't think that David and Shelley had no minors under net. They had minor slaves. All the CMO girls had to be slaves for Shelley. Shelley wouldn't lift a finger. She'd just get into her room, throw all her clothes on the floor, and then expect 3 girls to go run. Oh my God, sir. Okay, sir. Let me do this for you, sir. So they couldn't all just have been role-playing slave masters, because yet again, you guys, in America that did fight a whole war to abolish slavery, allegedly, because, you know, slavery is alive and well as of this year, because every single one of these co-founders that propped up this sham 501c decided to read the clause about slavery and go, that doesn't apply to us. Slavery, L Ron Hubbard pitched it. And we have in Monique Yingling a wonderful way to, instead of calling it a slave, we just call it a volunteer. And then all of a sudden, the courts won't suspect anything because it couldn't be easier to gaslight, right? Oh yeah, and we should just really get some vaults ready to start locking up some passports of kids. And just like that, we're going to have a religious place. Everyone grab your rifle. Let's really get the security going. Let's put more pikes around the fences. Let's put more motion detectors. That is how I was kept inside of the hacienda, falsely imprisoned for 2 years plus. With you guys know exactly what in the hell I had to confront, being twinned with a complete self-admitted disgusting man that was my job to redeem him. Imagine that, you guys. In what world is a child made the therapist, the so-called therapist, the so-called twin of that type of level of degenerate with everyone full knowing, including Debbie Cook, including Marty Rathbun, including Shelley Miscavige. All of those three people full knew. Angie Trent as well. So there's 4 people for you guys right there. They couldn't be more implicated. They couldn't be more full knowing. But everybody knew. Nobody gave an F. That's the problem with these hotels, you guys. Everybody knew everything and nobody gave an F. And that's why they're so implicated. And that's why they're all so pressed to, blab their mouths as much as they can about all manner of stuff except actually coming clean and actually being honest for once in their lives. If not for them, for the kids that are stuck behind, that they apparently still, as of this year 2024, they didn't give a shred of an F for kids when they were stuck at the hotels. Well, guess what, you guys? They walked out. Kids can stay there. See you guys later. Let me really go sell a book real quick. Where can I grift? Where can I sink my claws into next? Because David took our 501c sham that we all were so proud to have propped up. And, oh yeah, I don't want to be a used car salesman. I really want to grift. That was having so much more fun when I was doing that. And just like that, you guys, these executives could have started brand new lives for themselves, but apparently, they wouldn't want to be a used car salesman if they could grift. Grift, used car salesman, grift, used car salesman. Oh, grift. That sounds convenient. That sounds about right.
Now, David totally changed his character. He says, Jesse, we've been through so much. Please, let's not do this. Come on, put the guns away. Yeah. Put the guns away. He didn't take my guns. I put them back, and then I came out and we talked, and he said to me at that point, he says, look, I really need you to do this. Please just take this fall because, you're in a high position in the church. All of the staff see this going on. I need you to do this.
Guys, and again, I'm sorry to have to pop your delusional bubble, Jesse Prince, but again, you're high in the cartel, in the trafficking of minors cartel that we all propped up for ourselves. That's where you were high. So in what world are you all operating as a cartel? Trafficking minors all across the entire world. Having semi-automatic weapons inside your room given to you by L Ron Hubbard. Aren't you so special to have gotten those guns? Aren't you so special that L Ron Hubbard personally gave you that? Aren't you so special to have been literally right next to the deranged, disgusting man that you decided to worship? That you decided to run by every last shred of red flag? And you decided to go, what would be a great idea? To blindly follow whatever in the hell this degenerate pitches. And what would be a very, very great idea is that I drop all my critical thinking skills. So in what world did you enslave yourself on your own merit and only got inconvenienced when David had his ill power trip to really hijack the power away from you and that other pathetic woman, Vicky, that was really, oh my God, what? You all were clowns from hell. So get off your high horse already and start actually contributing to the conversation with your own MF Duns. What did you do? How many kids did you personally traffic, Jesse Prince? How many kids did you expose to audits? How many kids did you expose to sec checks? How many kids did you give ethics handlings to? How many kids did you train to really go get whatever adult wanted to get their freak on with them? How many videos of that did you watch, Jesse, since you were such a technical, great master, whatever? Because that would be a great question to ask yourself in a mirror. Literally go to the closest one and really ask yourself that damn question. And then double reflect and double check, what have I done since leaving the hotel, and how many kids are still implicated, stuck in there, that I haven't given a shred of an F when I was there or since you left? Because start making that math make sense for yourself, Jesse Prince. Just like we tell Mike Rinder, your receipts couldn't be more unmatched. And your arrogance that you really took it upon yourself to blab in 1999 to really, oh yeah, I really want to save this from whatever. Well, you know what? You didn't save anybody. Because, you know, when you had the opportunity to be advocating for kids, including myself while I was locked up, this documentary, all you gave an F about is, oh, let's jump on the Lisa McPherson train, you guys, because the Tampa Bay Times really wants to, you know, cover that story because, you know, if this woman went out of her mind after being abused like this, and there's just a ton of minors all inside the hotel, then who cares? So you knew exactly what in the hell L Ron Hubbard pitched Jesse Prince, and your critical thinking skills are nowhere to be found in 2024. You couldn't be more implicated up to your neck and ears in propping up this sham. So yet again, you guys, with the victim hero complex, they always want to come out and tell everyone what it was really like to be next to John Travolta and Tom Cruise, and let's just blab and blab about useless, pathetic things to self-aggrandize. It's always the same old MF pitch. How do I make myself look better? How do I make myself look cool? I was really doing a lot of karate. David didn't take my guns. I put him back myself. Or you couldn't be more pathetic is what the problem is.
Just so Scientology itself doesn't fall apart. And if you do this, then I will come and take you and put you back in a position. And, you know, I didn't really care about that. And at the time, I didn't think that it would be a good idea for all of Scientology to fall apart because I'm still not straight in my head yet. So I conceded.
Well, you're not straight in your head even today, since you haven't repudiated the technology that you did prop up, that you guys will see how, you know, later on he'll pitch. It's like, oh yeah, nobody was following the technology like how it's said to be followed. And that's what they always purport, you guys. And that's what they always did to us inside of the hotel. Everything would go awry and they would be like, oh, look, this policy, they didn't apply this. That's the reason. So it was all just a disgusting, sick manipulation scheme. But as long as adults are goo-goo gaga fanatical for that degenerate, convicted, indicted felon, there's not going to be any single shred of a change because they still refuse to acknowledge what in the hell they were about inside of those hotels.
Happy Valley Rehabilitation Center for Recuperation of Inner Peace lies hidden among the mountains, only 20 minutes away from the center of power. Officially, the area is called Castile Canyon School. Over 100 people live here, including Wiebke H., who is said to have been in the camp since 1995.
Just like in a prison, someone come in, time to get up, security guard, 10 minutes, wash, dress, and then you're outside standing in the, you know, freezing early morning in California, shaking. They do a roll call, they count you just like they do in jail. They count how many people are there, make sure no one is missing. And then you're told what you're gonna do for that day. You eat a meal for 20 minutes and then you're working.
In the near vicinity of the company's private golf course and the football field in Gilman Hot Springs is another attraction in the Scientology program, a circular spot. In the middle is a palm tree. That's not meant for harmless game. Wiebke H., the successful manager, what became of her?
So this is the Where's Shelley Miscavige movement before anyone was asking for any women going missing, you guys. This is the photo of the woman that was, one of David's favorites in Germany, really expanding, really getting a lot of kids involved, literally, radicalizing people in Germany. That's why the German government was, outraged that this infiltration was happening, and never mind that they didn't have any success in Germany, you guys. They couldn't be more pathetic. They couldn't be more irrelevant. But the problem is they remain worldwide because, again, the only reason they have these centers worldwide is so they can have a place to grab one person here, grab one person there. They're not trying to save the entire world as all of these pathetic adults have alleged. Oh yeah, we really wanted to clear the whole world, you guys. That's what we were all about inside of those hotels. Bullshit. They were screening any person that could come to the hotels. You guys understand the level of clearances that Debbie Cook required for anyone to have unfettered access inside of those hotels? Literally, they needed to understand that that person was 1 billion % vetted, that they were going to be completely groomed, going to be completely okay with everything. So that really needs to be underscored. And yet again, we're underscoring here that a lot of people since 1999, where's this woman? Where's this woman? Let's really go save her. She's stuck at the hole. Meanwhile, so many kids are stuck at the hole and nobody gives an F. And nobody even knows their name because their parents put them there. Imagine in all of these years, no parents show a shred of remorse. All we get is, Sarah Goldberg and going clear. Oh my God, my daughter won't talk to me anymore. Well, what did you think was going to happen when you groomed your daughter to become who she became? Then we hear from Mike Grinder, oh my God, my 2 kids really hate me, really write whatever David tells them. Who raised your kids, Mike Grinder? You were a deadbeat dad. All David has to do is, give him a couple of special perks inside of those hotels, you guys, and all of a sudden, those kids don't know any better. Those kids are now getting treated more special, which really means nothing, but maybe like they get more days off. It's like there was always like special cases that Scientology's crisis managing to keep content, to keep, okay, make sure that they stay VGIs is what they call it. VGIs, very good indicators. That means they're always like happy and not wanting to leave. So no advocacy for kids, all the advocacy in the world for adults that literally confined themselves, loved being degraded, loved being humiliated. They found it so thrilling to put themselves in that position until, they didn't like it at all. And then, they left. But they left with all the kids stuck at the hotels. They just left thinking, well, it sucks to be a kid. Better luck next lifetime.
Letters to her brother. She wrote the last one June 1998. Her brother showed them to us as a sign that she was still alive. She said things were going splendidly with her and she was having a lot of fun. The lines she wrote give the impression that everything is okay. Supposedly nothing is happening with his older sister, which he needs to be concerned about. Where is she exactly, and is she doing well?
Einerseits,
on the one side, I know that she has done this voluntarily and on her own. On the other side, of course, it is clear to me that her thought is being manipulated. What is the extent of freedom? Where is the part where I can say with certainty that she wants things that way? I have to
Wo
leave that
ist
up to
der
her if
Teil,
I
dass ich
accept her
sagen
as
kann
an
mit
equal.
Sicherheit, das will sie so, das muss ich ihr unterstellen.
On the other
und ich ihr
hand,
das gleich
one
unterstellen.
asks, if she is manipulated,
Andererseits sagt man immer,
what happened
ist
when
sie
she spent
manipuliert?
3
Was ist,
years
wenn
in
sie 3
this
Jahre
rehabilitation
in diesem
center? Are the trouble and the effort
Rehabilitationscenter ist?
which she has taken upon herself worthwhile?
Sind die
What happens when a monk goes into a
Anstrengungen, die
cloister
sie
and
da
talks with
auf sich nehmen,
nobody for 3 months?
für sie die
If
Sache
one
wert?
goes to a hermitage, what happens then?
Was ist, wenn ein Mönch
Must
in
we permit
Klausur
that?
geht und ein
Is it
Vierteljahr mit
only
seinem redet, wenn
unpleasant
einer
because
in
she's my
ihrem
sister and it
Dasein
happened to us in the middle of Hamburg?
Was ist das? Müssen wir das zulassen? Ist es nur unangenehm, weil es meine Schwester ist und uns das hier mitten in Hamburg passiert?
It's difficult for me.
Schwierig für mich.
Back to Clearwater, to the picket being held.
It's difficult for him, you guys, and I haven't seen anyone else have this level of eloquent conversation over this whole obsession over let's really prevent every adult from making a bad decision for themselves. Let's really come in and intervene and tell them to not do it. And you know, guys, it doesn't work that MF way. Even with all the people that I was in the RPF with, you know who didn't like it there? You know who would have left in a second? I know that. And we've spoken about this ourselves, between ourselves, the kids that have reconnected after having been stuck in that prison camp where Debbie Cook sent us. And all of us wanted the hell out. But you know who loved it? Bingo. The consenting adults loved it. And just like we saw in that other interview, that blonde woman that couldn't stop raving about how incredible it was and how she got so much technology to do this and to do that. And she was having a jolly old time doing that. No one can grab that woman and stop her from engaging in whatever in the hell she was all about inside those prison camps that she loved. So it couldn't be more important as we get the Free Sebastian movement, Free Shelley movement, free all of the adults, all of the enablers, all of the perpetrators always get all of the attention. And you know the day they're really going to leave, you guys, when there's consequences for them. When they go, oh, you mean I could be implicated in felonies? Oh, no, then you know what? I don't like L Ron Hubbard that much. Let me just, skirt. As if we don't have Jeffrey and Ghislaine to thank profusely for laying the groundwork of how this problem gets stopped. So yes, shout out to Ghislaine Maxwell and shout out to you, Jeffrey Epstein, who literally were the talk of the town, the ones that had the luxury hotels, the luxury villas, the luxury, New Mexico ranches, Palm Beach, come to our mansion, come to our dinner party, come to our event, come hobnob with us. And then all of a sudden, you guys, you can't find a single shred of person wanting to have anything to do with them. I mean, I saw a headline today on Prince Andrew, the turd that won't flush. Imagine you're Prince Andrew, and with the latest release of documents, you are the turd that won't flush. I mean, literally, guys, but yeah, thank God for that, right? Because it gives some sort of framework. All of these child abusers that were hobnobbing with Jeffrey and Ghislaine, they all thought they were the coolest. They all thought they were really going to save the world themselves. They were going to MIT and they were going to all the type Ivy League schools to really rub shoulders, very a la Scientology, who goes to all these people and finds professors that write BS dissertations about how Scientology could not be more religious if it tried. And that L Ron Hubbard could not be more of a religious born God. So isn't that great that they had the exact same business model? Grab as many minors as you can inside luxury hotels, because as soon as they're in a luxury place, the police is easily bamboozled. The corporate media will literally fall over themselves all over the time period of the story because no one has a spine in America. You guys, they don't have a spine. It's nowhere to be found. The stories go with the wind as long as Bill Clinton goes and yells at Vanity Fair. Come to find out, stories just get squashed. Oh yeah, well, never mind. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Next time. So we are thanking Jelaine and Jeffrey for showing how the problem gets stopped. Not by cradling and canoodling adults that implicate themselves willingly, that pay for it, that literally sign all consent forms, and that literally go, here's my child, here's their passport, here's the signed contract, goodbye. Let me cash my checks. Oh yeah, stop the payment on the school, stop the payment on the food, stop the payment on their clothes, stop. Oh, I got rid of my child at 12. Hooray, Scientology parents that can get rid of your kids at 12. Hooray for you. Laugh all the way to the bank because you're going to need those savings to start paying criminal attorneys, to start putting together a few pitches on how you can defend your disgusting selves. Because that would be very great for all Scientology parents that did take it upon themselves to donate kids to this trafficking hotel, that did decide to cash their checks on that little deal that they made to get themselves a visa. Oh, Scientology, you donated these kids to the Sea Org. Well, then you know what? We have great connections there. As if the public were not getting advices from Glenn Stylo at OSA, going back to Mike Rinder, co-founder of this place, founder of OSA, who really tapped Glenn Stylo. Oh, you come here and you handle all the passports. Let's really run our little passport sham from our Office of Special Affairs. Because all you ever hear him talk about, you guys, is, oh yeah, you know, the fair game I did when I really didn't know what in the hell I was doing. Fair game is the literal last of our MF problems, Mike Rinder. How many visa sham and scams did you and Glenn Stylo and Kathy True and Sarah Heller and Ben Shaw are implicated in? And how many of those minors are in that R1 visa program? Because again, as the watchdog committee person of this disgusting, abominable thing you founded, that apparently you couldn't be more ineffective to unfound. You could not be more ineffective to stop the disgusting things your office and your proteges that are still at it, following your advices, the hats you gave them, the training you gave them. So start taking responsibility for that already and start pretending that, you know, you really tried a lot to do a lot of things other than to help yourself.
Held by the former Scientologists. This is Frank Oliver. He was an agent of the Secret Service of Scientology, OSA for short.
That was me addressing a member of Scientology's Office of Special Affairs, probably, trying to get a picture of me as a former member of the office.
By 1996, the Munich state attorney had already found out that Scientology used undercover intelligence methods as defense against inner and external enemies, and that it would not stop at criminal actions.
The Office of Special Affairs is set up in Scientology with two purposes in mind. One is the Office of Special Affairs to handle PR, and the other is investigation. One works hand in hand with the other. Where there are areas that the church believes are detrimental to society, for example, in the areas of psychiatry, in the areas of the IRS, abuse maybe. Scientology sets up their investigative machine to work and then uses the information that they garner from that with their PR machine that they have, which is what they go out and they try and publicize this information. Now, it's not for the purpose of the general good of the populace. It's very self-serving.
This document clearly shows what assignments are.
So, and I don't know if you guys understood what he's talking about in terms of the PR arm, you guys, because Mike Rinder, little founding operation, Office of Special Affairs, what they would do is investigate all this stuff, figure out how to spin it, and then put up their little glossy magazine. Oh yeah, you guys, look at over here. The IRS, look at all this corruption we're uncovering from the IRS. And if you guys can only literally imagine that 3 high school dropouts, David, Marty, and Rinder, used that little magazine to wield power over the IRS so that they could be literally on their knees. Oh yeah, we wouldn't want to be published in your stupid ass propaganda magazine. Let's really grease the wheel so you stop harassing us. And just like this guy said here, look at what we literally have on the screen. One of the directives. This is what Mike Rinder spent 4 decades doing. Infiltration, bribery, buying information, blackmail. The last 2 are, of course, illegal. So you all knew you were doing illegal things, and it couldn't be more in writing because we have it right here, Mike Rinder. So by all means, start MF explaining your damn self. You couldn't be more pathetic if you weren't literally called out by your daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard, that did tell you the last 2 are also, of course, illegal. So we would love to understand how you were doing illegal things like this, all full knowing, all for as many decades as you did. And today are just, grifting away at another 501c, grifting away at another book deal that you're making, grifting away at seeing who really hires you to be an expert of whatever in the hell you purport to be an expert in. Because what good is your expertise if it's all just self-serving? What good is your expertise if you only always give sanitized pitches? So go back and look at all your pitches and see which ones are sanitized. Because literally the policies speak for themselves, you guys. The literal policies, this is what he was doing for 4 decades. I mean, this is what in the hell you call a receipt in the real world, Mike Rinder. This policy here, explain it to us. It makes no shred of sense. We thought it made sense. We thought it was, y'all really knew what in the hell you were doing with your military uniforms, really gonna save the world. Well, you know what? Couldn't be more disillusioned AF that was just so pathetic and false. And to make matters worse, Jesse Prince just outed all of you pathetic goons as laughing over us, your subordinates, believing the BS. So I hope you, Debbie Cook, and Marty Rathbun are having a little laughing party for yourselves right now. Because we are not laughing whatsoever. The joke was done at our expense. So now y'all get to start paying for the joke that we never consented to be a part of.
Waiting for OSA agents. Infiltration, bribery, buying information, robbery, blackmail.
Robbery.
The investigations person, you hardly ever see them. They're the ones in the shadows finding out the dirt on everyone and everything. Critics, and bringing that to the PR so the PR can use it to make Scientology look good and to make them look, the other person look bad. Right. So that's how it works. They work with each other.
OSA is also involved in monitoring telephones. We have a list of telephone numbers called from a public telephone booth in Miami. The assignment was to observe these booths in order to investigate the callers.
They had so many projects going on at the time that my main purpose for being there was to be in the CAN unit, but they would pull me out of that room and put me on other related projects to, move them along a little bit. I remember sitting in a room and having to go through a printout of someone's phone bill and find out who all the phone numbers belong to. I don't know how I got a copy of someone's private phone bill.
Perhaps by burglary? A training document for Scientology agents, which was confiscated by the FBI.
See you guys. Right there, documents on how to break into things. So, in what world did you really think you were ever saving anything when you were teaching your proteges how to steal, how to break into things? And again, this goes to show you guys how all of this, oh yeah, I really got into law enforcement. I really tried my best to shut it down. I really told them everything I knew. Really? Did you really tell them everything you knew? And they couldn't do anything? So you're telling us that the FBI is just lazy AF and doesn't give a shred of an F about kids, and doesn't give a shred of an F about laws, and doesn't give a shred of an F that there's just all manner of minors implicated in sham R1 visas that you and Glenn Stylo were master planning along with your little friend Debbie Cook there. Oh yeah, Mike Rinder, we really do have these 3 kids that they won't approve their visas. Is there anything you can do to help us? Because we really want to get started before Thursday, before 2, so we really can count them on the statistics so that we can really go and have a day off for ourselves. And so we can really claim down bonus. Remember, guys, Debbie Cook would give up bonuses for recruitment. They called it recruitment bonus. Oh yeah, you recruited somebody. Oh, here's $300 for you. $300 is what these people would put on the head of you bringing a minor to the hotel to be a slave for her. So when we say Debbie Cook is Ghislaine Maxwell on steroids and crack, add cocaine to that. She must have been on every type of drug to be that unhinged, to be that depraved, to be that literally no conscience whatsoever. She couldn't have enough minors. Every week she would yell at us, you guys, on Thursday. You need to all start doing your recruitment targets. I set the recruitment targets. You need to make them. Why didn't you make your recruitment target this week? Yes, sir, you're right, sir. I'm working on a site. Did I tell you? Did I ask you to speak? No, sir. No, you didn't. Okay, so then don't open your mouth and deaf tee me. Don't create developed traffic. Did you get your recruit? Yes or no? No, sir. Well then, HCO, investigate them, interrogate him, find out if he's masturbating. Oh yeah, you guys, this is in front of 600 people. Little Debbie Cook with her little power trips, always wanting to find out who's masturbating, because that was her solution for everything. Everything had to do with masturbation. Oh, you masturbated, then you really are blocking the production. You really are not wanting to recruit people because you masturbated. It couldn't be more unhinged and dumb, but leave it up to these clowns that did role play in fake military uniforms.
It shows that the organization will not stop at burglary, along with exact descriptions how to break through door locks and even safes is covered. Pull your prepared metal strip from the lower end of the door to the strike plate of the lock and the door pops open. If you have problems inserting it, use your foot to hold the door open a crack.
Isn't that great, you guys? If you have problems opening the door, use your foot. Well, I think we're going to be using our foot for other things after this live, you guys, because it couldn't be more self-evident. And I myself had never seen this documentary, but the fact that all of this information of OSA, all of these policies of OSA, all of this rampant criminality that has been washed up, that has been swept under a literal rug, as if we didn't see Mike Rinder in this video. I put him on the thumbnail before, him there standing with the cops, right behind the cops, Mike Rinder. If you spend 40 years greasing the wheels between you and your little OSA, with all these legal departments figuring out how to compromise them, how in the literal hell can you not reverse that? How is it more easy, you guys, to corrupt the police than to uncorrupt it? Because you know what the police is very scared of? You guessed it, getting called out on corruption. And if the police, the LAPD, the Clearwater Police, PD, and all of these other corrupt people, if they were scared of getting outed, then you would see them applying the law. But since they're not scared, since they're all just really relying on Monique Yingling, attorney of the millennia, that really just pitched this as a 501c, couldn't be more religious, what in the hell goes on there? And then why in the hell are you having an entire office dedicating to breaking doors? Monique, please. Your executives are armed to the teeth with semi-automatic weapons. Your executives lock up kids against their will. Your executives are thirsty AF to grab as many minors as they can, and they're still at it. Sebastian is at there today, you guys. Do you see Mike Rinder going out there and trying to stop people from going there? No, he's too high and mighty over there. He's really going to help a lot of people by doing nothing, by seeing what he can grift on next. You haven't done anything to stop the cycle of abuse, but you purport to be the one that really should be tapped to do that. So in what world can you reconcile the incongruent receipt, Mike Rinder? In what world can we make sense of what turns out was the modus operandi of your office? Because right here, we're getting some receipts that need explaining. So by all means, feel free to contextualize yourself. By all means, tell us how you and L Ron Hubbard knew that bribery and breaking into places was illegal, was of course illegal, excuse me. But, you know, we still do it because who the hell gives an F? You know, we're not talking the Guardian's office, you guys. These were OSA documents that they were operating in. So remember, Guardian office is the one that L Ron Hubbard is responsible for. OSA is the one Mike Rinder is responsible for. Oh, speaking of which, there you go. Isn't that great, you guys? Little smirky Mike Rinder with his little cell phone. Oh yeah, you guys, don't get this twisted. All of these little executives that were the slave owners had a little phone, and they felt very important to have a phone because, oh yeah, no one else is allowed to have a phone unless you're a senior executive. You are not getting a shred of phone. So Mike Rinder that always told us he was so outward facing. Well, you know what? In this documentary, he was really pressed to make sure that it didn't come out. And in this documentary in 1999, he would have known I was literally right there as a minor doing what in the hell I was doing. So before you want to pretend that you didn't know anybody, Mike Rinder, and you were doing a lot of PR, I mean, anywhere you place yourself, whether you were writing pitches to put L Ron Hubbard on the New York Times bestseller, writing fake affidavits for you and Monique to pitch your 501c sham scam, or whatever in the hell you are, all we get is the same exact result of you being front and center with the problem. literally right there with his little suit. And, you know, does he look real pressed, you guys? Does he look like he really wants to leave? You know, because he's got a nice little suit going for himself. Don't think that our uniforms were nice and pressed like that. We were given disgusting, like from that company. What is it, you guys? The one that does all the uniforms? Generic AF is what all the slaves got. The executives had Italian suits tailor-made to their measure. Oh yeah, of course. You wouldn't want to be out PR. You're representing us. We need to really impress Monique. So with this little suits and his little cell phone and his little glasses and his little smirk, he's out there doing what he does best. Grabbing proteges, teaching them his ways, the ways to have this new office really work real well, with fair game, with breaking into people's things, with tapping phones, whatever in the hell illegal thing you can think of, because he's a religious man. That's all it took for the police to, you know, really stand behind him. You're just so religious here. I mean, the religious literally means they can do whatever in the hell they want, apparently.
Your top guy is Mike Rinder. He's the executive director of the Office of Special Affairs. He knows everything that's going on. And above him is David Miscavige.
Uh-oh, Mike Rinder. I didn't know that that was coming, you guys. I mean, literally the truth corroborates itself. Your top guy is Mike Rinder, says a protege. How many years back? Who in the hell knows where this Frank Oliver is today, you guys? He's definitely not an SPTV creator, but he was calling out Mike Rinder as he's there in the phone, seeing how he's going to scheme and scam and launder the image and pretend there's no RPF and pretend that everything they're doing inside the trafficking hotel is just another religious experience that kids are having for themselves. And imagine that at this point, you guys, he's not even pressed about having kids in the hotel. He's just pressed that, you know, someone's asking about a woman, adult, that really consented and loved it and loved to be humiliated and loved the RPF. So isn't that great that he didn't give an F about the kids, that he thought, no one's asking about them, so I might not have a problem there, but let me really do sweep under the rug all these other receipts about my office that I founded.
Everything goes from him to him directly.
Hollywood Boulevard, Los Angeles. Workplace of Mike Rinder and gathering point for OZA. This is where the information is evaluated and prepared.
Oh, so that was your little home for as many years as you were there, evaluating the information. Isn't that great, you guys? Evaluating the information. He sat in that office, read the most disgusting, unhinged, abominable things you can possibly imagine. Remember, only the most disgusting shit would be brought up to the top. Because in Scientology, going back to the master-slave program, the slave is supposed to handle the problem. If your problem floated up the org board, which is what they called it, don't let this float up the org board. You wouldn't want this to float up the org board. You wouldn't want to get bypassed. So by all means, Mike Rinder, tell us what you were doing inside of not this hotel. You were not inside a hotel. You were in a commercial building in the middle of Hollywood, where you couldn't be more implicated if you didn't just get called out for evaluating and reading everything, where you didn't just get called out by your own protege, Frank Oliver. Don't forget, you guys, he controlled all personnel decisions to do with that office. That's how it worked, just like Debbie Cook. They were the top watchdogs of their own pyramid scheme. So if your own protege is calling you out, Mike Rinder, that you know everything, and yes, that you're reporting it to your little buddy, David Miscavige, and you both are scamming and scheming together, no one's saying you were both not good at scamming and scheming. So relax. You were both extremely good. But that luck is running out in this year 2024, unfortunately for y'all. Because your sanitized pitches could not be more clear AF to see. And it's all in the public record. It's like we don't even have to dig hard or anywhere, you guys. It's just YouTube.
Prepared for further action. That not only includes Germany, Scientology's declared arch-enemy, but also the Federal German Ministry for Family, Youth and Health.
See, that was the right agency to be investigating this. Where is our family youth organization, you guys? I mean, Germany was outraged, but when the hell these people were proposing, they're the only government that smelled a rat because, again, they did take it upon themselves to prop up a disgusting L Ron Hubbard of their own. But America has purported that, you know, their hands couldn't be more clean and, you know, they couldn't be more of an incredible country, freedom of religion. Well, you know what? Freedom of having kids turned into slaves by way of Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, David Miscavige, and Debbie Cook right into hotels. As modern day slavery is literally 1000% sanctioned, endorsed by the idiots at the IRS, by the corrupt, disgusting people at the IRS that, you know, they were just too pressed to get sued themselves. It's like, okay, whatever, fine. Give me the paperwork is what the commissioner ended up doing. Give me the paperwork. Just go away.
The method of operation against the enemy and the goal of the OSA agents is that one learns all his plans for the future and uses the material gathered either to bring him to court or to discredit him so that no one longer believes his statement.
So another one of the big modus operandi of Mike Rinder, you guys. He would learn all the plans for the future and then use material gathered to bring him to court or to discredit him so that no one no longer believes his statements. Well, you know who no one wants to believe your statements right about now, Mike Rinder. So you have become literally the victim of your own venom that you spewed for all of those decades. Because with what straight face can you show up and say what in the hell you're purporting to say when you were literally all about gathering material to bring people to court and discredit them so that no one believes their statements? Well, lucky for you, we now have YouTube where we don't need your permission to make a single shred of statement and where we can ask questions. So you can be held accountable because you refuse to hold a shred of accountability for any of your actions. You don't want to get your ethics in, Mike Rinder. You don't want to make a change. You are choosing that every day. You're waking up in the morning, you're opening your eyes, your baby blues, and going, today is a great day to not change a shred of a thing. Today is a great day to come up with another sanitized pitch that I can just put real quick. Today is another day to really blame everything on David Miscavige and collect another check for myself. So in what world does that make sense? And by all means, push back on that. How are you not making a choice to not come clean? Because that's our question today. With this type of receipts, this is your orders. This is what you were doing. This was your order to do this. You order to go and ensnare people in legal things like this. That is disgusting. And in what world did you literally have a directive to be a complete unhinged person? Because, you know, We never get these type of receipts, you guys. And you guys that follow crime and all of that can leave it in the comments. Where do you ever see evidence where they literally write down being unhinged, be illegal, break things down? Even the mafia, even the cartels, they don't write that down. They might do shady illegal stuff, but they're not all writing it down and agreeing on a piece of paper like complete and utter entitled degenerates.
OSA is his, that's his number one thing right now. That's what he has to have in place. If not, Scientology would have been gone long ago.
So OSA keeps Scientology alive.
Absolutely.
You're blocking us.
There you go, you guys. That's your protege's words, Mike Rinder, not ours. You are responsible for keeping Scientology alive. So let that really sink into your brain. Let that simmer and sizzle inside your brain. The person responsible for keeping Scientology alive. The person willing to do whatever type of PR cleanup so that minors could still be implicated, so that minors could still be getting abused, so that all the public that you were so pressed to service, all the people that could pay $500 an hour to come get serviced by us would not lose the little paradise. Because that's all y'all ever cared about. So it couldn't be more obvious that the type of disgusting paradise, literally the Disneyland for pedos, that you and Debbie Cook and Marty Rathbun and Angie Trent and Kathy True and Sue Gentry and Ricky Jensen and Claire Headley and Shelley Miscavige and Pilar Saldarriaga. It's a vast network of enablers, you guys. If you think that, Jeffrey and Ghislaine had 200 people on their list, well, make that 5,000 people of enablers for these people. And we haven't even gotten out to the outside enablers. All the banks that literally bank these people. All the banks that are supporting, aiding, and abetting systemic institutionalized trafficking of minors. Go check real quick how that turned out for JP Morgan Chase to be doing business with Epstein. Because right about now, all banks that are banking these disgusting people should really be thinking about the $300 million plus fine they had to pay for playing dumb. And once again, these people have over $3 billion in assets and blood money on the backs of kids. So good luck explaining those associations, banks of zero due diligence, zero critical thinking skills, zero, you couldn't be easier to literally manipulate, gullible AF, because you just see, you're going to bring a lot of money. Okay, let's set you up at the VIP. We'll bring you champagne. You're going to be one of our greatest clients. We're really going to help you invest your money. We're really going to come up with a real estate, idea so we can just park all these buildings everywhere. So is the money laundering for me, is the trafficking, the systemic institutionalized at an industrial scale trafficking of minors for me. What I don't seem to understand how all of this information has been known for decades, you guys, and Yet still here we are. I mean, 1999, 2009, 2019, like almost a quarter century. Imagine, in a quarter century, Mike Rinder has still kept Scientology alive. Isn't that great? Isn't that so great, you guys, that the founder of OSA doesn't want OSA to die because, you know, that's his little baby, not his kids. His kids are stuck in the hotel. He could give a shred of an F about them. But, you know, OSA and all his little proteges there that he really does miss when he was, you know, having a jolly old time being allowed to be the unhinged, depraved person that he loved being for as many decades as you were doing that job, Mike Rinder. It's not like you did it for 1 month or 2 or 1 year, or you left in your mid-50s. You were a full-blown adult. And yes, you really did sell your little people. Oh, no, but I was also a kid, you guys. I had no shred of a clue. Well, you know what? You did have shred of a clue. And you know what, Mike Rinder? You do know a lot about legal stuff. So don't play dumb as if you were stuck at a hotel, not knowing anything, having no education, having complete arrested development, because that's some of what we had. Isn't that great, you guys? Like, we had complete arrested development. We were kept to see nothing else outside those walls. We never had a single shred of a conversation with an attorney that could explain us anything. Mike Rinder spent 10 plus years retaining the top best attorneys he could find, so him, his little friend Marty Rathbun, and David could really role play saviors of the galaxy, laughing the way to the bank as they enslave kids, because this was a power trip for them, you guys. Total, utter power trip. They didn't give a... They were so stupid, they volunteered for the assignment. Imagine being that stupid and pathetic that you literally go, oh, you know what would be a great idea? To just volunteer for this. I mean, I'm not going to get any of the money, but who cares? As long as I volunteer, I'm at least considered important. Well, go check how important you are in this scheme with a mirror. Go check that real quick.
You are arresting us. You are not allowed to block us, you know?
They have refused to
You're
leave.
blocking us.
Nobody is blocking you.
You're blocking us.
Fine. I'm placing you under citizen's arrest right now.
OSA in action. We wanted to go to Happy Valley to see with GH. However, our drive was stopped short by a roadblock.
I mean, look at that, you guys. And then Scientology really is talking about how they get harassed. And that's why they are hating Streets LA. That's where they're hating Jessica right about now and all the people that are sitting outside of their stuff. Because usually it's they who do the harassment. So I'm sure that, you know, Mike Rinder's proteges right about now are having short circuits in their brain because they don't know how to fix this. Mike Rinder is no longer around, their little daddy figure, to really help them navigate this. Since he so, you know, craftedly navigated them through every crisis. I mean, shout out to him, you guys. He's a good publicist. He knows how to handle his little talking points. But that's the problem when you're propping up a sham and when you're a publicist full of lies and spin. That the minute somebody knows how to blow Mike Rinder, your little house of cards couldn't fall flatter to the fucking floor if Newton hadn't literally found that there's gravity in the world to pull down your disgusting scam.
We were held up for over 2 hours on the open road, scolded, yelled at, threatened. There was no way out. What or whom?
I mean, you guys scolded at, yelled at, threatened, and held for 4 hours someone that's doing a documentary. The Office of Special Affairs. Mike Rinder's proteges were out there doing this dirty work under his orders, under his command. He's probably in his little cell phone Okay, block them more, yell at them, scream at them. Isn't that great? And if they were doing that to adults that could have gone to the police, that could have filed charges, that could have gotten them implicated in something, you can actually start understanding the type of problem these kids have inside of the hotels. If these people are this unhinged, this level of degenerate by their actions, not our opinion, these are degenerate actions on their own. Full knowing that you're doing something disgusting, full knowing that you are part of a scam. And then you leave the scam and you refuse to call it a scam. You continue to prop up all your little washed up narrative about how, oh, well, yeah, a lot of people really believe a lot of stuff there. And today you literally got outed by Jesse Prince telling us that you were all laughing behind closed doors. Laughing at the stupidity of your subordinates that were paying to be L Ron Hubbard proteges, that were paying to be the courses, that were paying to give you their children for a chance to be a part of your hotel operation. Where do I sign up my kid?
Were they concealing there? Many questions remain unanswered.
You're asked to do things that are illegal. You're asked to do criminal things, in your position. And then pretty soon, you're doing it, everyone else is doing it. It's like part of the job. If you want to be in this position, then you have to start doing these types of criminal activities.
So if everyone's doing the criminal activities, then who cares? And that's why even you, Claire Headley, are going to run into a big problem because Jesse Prince just outed you. You had to be willing to show them that you were willing to do that criminal activity. Otherwise, you were not going to be part of their clique. Hand selecting the people that would actually do this, you guys. Hand picking, like, oh, you come here, you got what it takes, you got what it takes, you've shown that you got what it takes. We're all committing the crimes now, so we're all co-conspirators, we're all implicated. Let's just, continue. Why not? Like, why not continue implicating ourselves? Why not just, continue doing disgusting things, all of us full knowing, all of us covering up for each other, because it's a big, big, big fraternity. Isn't it a big, happy family, you guys? These people. Because this is just a full-blown cartel of self-infantilized, fully self-infantilized, military-wearing, stolen valor, crazy asses reading the books of an indicted convicted felon that everything he wrote in the books, he pulled out of his literal ass. So by all means, start pitching how y'all were part of a religion, because right about now, pulling something out of your ass is not religion or theology or technology for that matter. So explain to all the kids you have all scammed why pulling things out of your ass and reading that disgusting stuff was what you all decided to park your critical thinking skills far away so that you could really just be a slave to your own stupidity.
And since everyone does it, now everyone is culpable. So everybody keeps quiet about it. No.
Since everybody does it, everyone's culpable, so everyone keeps quiet about it, and then they keep quiet about it, and then they're still keeping quiet about it, you guys, and then they still keep quiet about it, and then they purport they're going to really talk about stuff, but then they just keep more quiet. Isn't that great? I mean, at least Jesse Prince just outed them all. Jesse Prince was in RTC, Jesse Prince was at the top of this pyramid scheme of abuse. So he would know what in the hell he's talking about. This isn't hyperbole, Mike Winder. You wish this was hyperbole. You wish this wasn't the truth. You wish. And so many kids would also wish that. But unfortunately for us, that's what we got. All of you committing crimes together, all of you full knowing, all of you covering your asses as you do today. Coming clean about nothing. Writing no real overts, no real withholds, and just giving your paperclip, sanitized, highly curated talking points. So you really can pitch yourself as a victim hero, and you really can sell to the media and anyone who gives you an audience the time that David Miscavige stuck you in a trailer as a full-grown man that you were.
No one talks about it. As I said earlier, the people, the hierarchy of Scientology does not practice Scientology as it is written in some of those bulletins.
Okay. And yet again, you guys, we have to push back on that ridiculous talking point that has permeated, literally permeated all through the. If only we would have all done what L Ron Hubbard said, you guys, we would have all been so happy-go-lucky. You total pathetic imbeciles. As much as you want to make David the boogeyman, remember, you guys, and this really goes to show how pressed they are for having been dethroned, over having the power of the sham 501c that they were all so pressed to be the top of that pyramid scheme, and the COB, and the one that has the real control, and the one that really knows, and they're all jealous AF. It's what's so pathetic. They're not regretful of their actions. They're not regretful of their unhingedness. They're not regretful over all kids implicated in whatever in the hell they did. But you know what they're really, really pressed about? What he just told us. So in what world did L Ron Hubbard tell you to lock people against their will, and that was going to be therapeutic, Jesse Prince, and that not be the problem? In what world did L Ron Hubbard pitch to you to go and literally run deranged, unhinged depositions to practice law without a license, all so you can launder for a profit? Do not get this twisted, you guys. For a literal profit. They're profiting when the felony is fully admitted to inside of these hotels. They're profiting. Oh, you just admitted to literally SA of a minor? Okay, well, you know what? Let's write you a program. And you could ask Jesse Prince. He was one of the ones that would write the programs. Step number 1, get your evil purposes handled. Step number 2, so go double check Jesse Prince with that ridiculous delusion and fantasy, infantilized AF. All of you who really thought your little daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard, really did figure it all out for you. And as long as you would have all just been good little boys and girls that really followed his thing to the letter, then you wouldn't have been in trouble. And imagine being the pathetic media that listened to that stupidity, you guys, and couldn't push back whatsoever. Wait, David is the chairman. But who's the founder? And what did the founder say to do? The founder is senior than all of these slaves, you guys. All of them were just L Ron Hubbard's bitch. But they don't want to have that realization because it's going to like shatter their own ego perception of who in the hell they think they are. So no more of these pathetic things about how if we would have just followed L Ron Hubbard to the letter, you guys, then everybody would have had a jolly old time. It couldn't be more ridiculous. What in the hell you are all saying? L Ron MF Hubbard is the reason, the sole reason y'all have the type of blood in your hands that you all share collectively as the adults at the top of the pyramid scheme, scheming and scamming minors at an industrial size scale. So once again, we are not here to cradle and canoodle your delusions anymore. We are sick of it. Raise y'all's confront of evil. Raise y'all's humanity. Try that. Try getting some humanity inside of your brains and seeing if any of your humanity was eroded by the time you really agreed to follow everything that L Ron Hubbard pitched to you without a shred of critical thinking skills, because that would be great for all Scientology people that really want to pitch that they were victims as full-grown adults implicated in the systemic institutionalized trafficking of minors across state lines, across countries, across wherever in the hell you felt like sending any of us.
Entire organization at the top of Scientology is completely corrupt. They find it laughable that people lower down in Scientology believe all this stuff.
And yet again, you guys, so they all found it laughable that any of the pathetic public that really go get your freak on to really do a course because you're really going free and you really want to pay for services provided to you by a minor because nothing raises a red flag for you, Trish Duggan. Trish Duggan that is giving them $300 million. But yeah, your hotel chain could not be any more legit, right, Trish Duggan? Or wrong? Right, all of the other IES patrons that really pay to be laughed at by the people y'all think really have your back. You couldn't be more pathetic and stupid.
I never wanted to be like the others. I always wanted to be different. Then I met people here who wanted to be the best of the world. They wanted to help other people.
For what I have seen for myself, I know that it's the right place for me to be. And
let's really look at this picture, you guys, because right here, literally, who we have to thank for all of the trafficking that took place when we were minors. When you think about Laura, think about all of these people right here being fully implicated. When you think about Jenna Miscavige, it's all of these people here that had complete agreement in her being tokenized, in her being commoditized, in her being just shoved off to the side. Miriam Francis, Christy Gordon, Liz Gale, Nora, all the kids suffered because these people really wanted to play this little adult ridiculous game where they all really purported to be very, very important as long as they wore fake uniforms. So how can that be? How can that literally be that you were all had all these people helping, all these people know, all these people were okay with kids getting locked up against their will. All these people were totally okay with normalizing this at an industrial size scale and then really delude themselves then really make themselves infantile to be like, we're playing a game. We're going to clear the planet, aren't we? We're going to get real far with the words of a convicted, indicted felon. We're really going to do a lot of good for people. Imagine if Charles Manson would have amassed this type of army, you guys. So just as you look at it again, think about all the fake narratives and pitches that were propped up so that this didn't smell like Charles Manson. Imagine that. Imagine that Mike Rinder is in charge of all the sanitized pitches of a disgusting degenerate L Ron Hubbard, so that everybody bought the pitch that just L Ron Hubbard was a great humanitarian, and let's really like put up a museum. So we show L Ron Hubbard here smiling. Oh, look, he's such a humanitarian, guys. We really want to save the world with all our humanitarian stuff. Oh, just write a bullshit pitch about how he was an Eagle Scout and just prop him up. Just write whatever bullshit you can think of. Like, don't check it. No one's going to check it. And then they get double checked. And then they're like, well, L Ron Hubbard's military record says, oh, correct. So thank you very much for all of these executives that are literally playing dumb as we speak, either still complicit in the abuse of institutionalized child trafficking of minors at an industrial size scale, or, you know, since they really have walked out of the threshold and are either on a payment program collecting checks for themselves, as most of these executives are, you guys. Don't think it's just Debbie Cook. Don't think it's just Angie Blankenship. Don't think it's just Marty Rathbun. Don't think it's just them. So yes, Mike Rinder didn't get that deal. So poor him. Poor him. But plenty of other executives that you see in that photograph today, as long as they had incriminating information, well, where am I going to send the check again? Says Monique Yingling. Okay, cool. Here's your 50 grand a month. Here you go. But every month you have to collect it, because every month we have to make sure you shut the F up and you didn't say anything and you didn't open a YouTube channel and you didn't, you know, decide to come to your senses and you didn't go to the FBI and you really have an NDA. So yeah, 50 grand will just show up at your account every month. And we have unlimited amounts of blood money of kids. So this isn't doing anything to us. That money leaving, coming, could be no more irrelevant to them, you guys. But you know, that money really does come in handy for the crooks like Debbie Cook. Because Debbie Cook then just goes and prounces around Texas and, you know, gives herself the good life that, you know, she never got at the hotel because she was working so hard, trafficking as many minors as she could to really, you know, leave the whole experience and, you know, call up ABC News real quick. Hey, Dan, can I really talk to you? Yeah, I left the hotel already, but I would love to tell you how I had a great time doing it. I was such a highly respected, high executive. And let me just tell you about David, though. I really want to tell you about that tea. That's all they want to do. Talk tea about David. And the press is like, oh my God, I'm on a plane. I'm on the next plane, Debbie Cook. Let me really run and grab a camera person to really interview you and really sit down and really hear what you have to say. Because, you know, America needs to know. America really would love to know what in the hell is this.
For what I have seen for myself, I know that it's the right place for me to be. And I know that we are dealing with the truth.
They're not only in...
And there you go again, you guys. Like, I'm telling you, you cannot save these adults. When they're fanatical, goo goo gaga for L Ron Hubbard, nothing you will say is going to shake that certainty, because they are so implicated. Like Jesse just said, they've already committed so many criminal acts, they cannot see themselves outside of the organization. There's no world they see themselves outside. That's Shelly Miscavige for you. That's why she doesn't come out. That's why she loves it in there. But none of the minors that got stuck in there love it.
possession of the truth, They have also their own mobile security troops. The Scientology sheriffs dress like police and follow you around step by step.
So it's private property. Can I ask you to leave?
Yeah, it doesn't say private.
Oh, look at this little security guard. Isn't this Ben Lowry? Ben Lowry, the security guard, you guys. Another cadet that then was turned into this quasi-police. Didn't I tell you they go and train with ex-police officers to really cozy up with them and to really pretend that, you know, they have their own police force and we're just going to have two buddy-buddy police force. And aren't we such little buddy-buddies, all the police from the LAPD and all the police from the Clearwater PD who really, really, really are buddy-buddies with these people. They're so familiar. I mean, literally sleeping with the enemy.
As Hubbard said, true is what is true for you. He also thought that they...
As Hubbard said, true is what is true for you. I mean, yeah, you guys, thank you for pointing that another fake pitch that these people give to themselves. Well, it's true for us. So if children are adults, then it's true for us. So we can do whatever in the hell we want. L Ron Hubbard told us to launder felonies. That's the technology we're using. We know what in the hell we're doing. Whatever's true to me, it's true to me. I mean, if that's the definition of truth, all of y'all have a lot of explaining to do because that means you are an infantile child. Only children would be like, whatever in the hell I think it's true, it is. If you're a kid and you believe like that, you're like, oh, how cute, how funny. Oh, you really just think that whatever you think is the truth is the truth. Okay, cool, that's great. So plenty pitches of that disgusting man giving his proteges and plenty pitches that were taken literally.
They were the only people on earth who have the right to punish. According to whose rules? According to Hubbard's rules, which are still rigidly kept today, 14 years after his death.
Oh my God, you guys, look at this kid right here. I was with this kid. His name is Mike. I'm not going to say his last name because, I don't know, just because
we're
he
the
was a
only people
minor.
on earth who have the right to punish. According to whose rules? According to Hubbard's rules, which are still rigidly kept today.
This kid right here that you see right behind the police guy is another minor recruited by Debbie Cook to become a course administrator. So he was the one that had to get us all the paper, all the clay, all the stuff, all the dolls that we had to use to groom the people that were doing the courses. But again, it's like our whole entire department was pretty much comprised of underage kids, the so-called training department. So in what world are you selling $10,000 courses to skip medical and law school altogether, Debbie Cook, and with a straight face, invoice those courses for 10 grand, and then here's your supervisor, a 15-year-old. 15-year-old? Oh yeah, but they're an adult. They're just an adult in a small body. You'll see. They're very, very good. And yes, you guys, we were very, very good. We had no choice. These people will slice our throat if we weren't good. They were deadly serious. Like L Ron Hubbard says in Keeping Scientology Working, because it doesn't work. You have to keep it working. We'd rather have you dead than incapable. Literal quote from indicted convicted felon L Ron Hubbard, pitched as an American bread god by the Tampa Bay Times and all the other newspapers that fell for the pathetic pitch put together by David, Marty, and Rinder. Isn't that great, you guys? That the critical thinking skills of the media could not be more pathetic if you literally pay them to be pathetic.
Day, 14 years after his death. Even children cannot escape these regulations. They are made tractable with psychological methods in the education.
Look at the size of this kid, and I think that's Look at the size of that kid. You guys, I think that Serial Ball Melly, who was like an 11-year-old.
Over and over again, they are subjected to the same security questions. Has someone ordered you not to tell us something? Do you have a secret? Have you ever taken something which does not belong to you? Have you ever hurt yourself to cause others anxiety? Have you ever done something which you have had to be ashamed of?
Have you ever done something you had to be ashamed of? So by all means, you guys, think about you sitting in a room. You are literally 12 years old. You're literally totally sort of like awestruck because, again, the grandiosity of the hotel, everything looks so grandiose and polished and Disneylandish on purpose. So you don't suspect that you're about to get literally F the F up. So there you are, being asked, is there something you're ashamed of? And as a kid, you don't even want to be asked those questions. You think it's stupid. Like, what the fuck am I being asked this question? So you're like, no. I'll repeat the auditing question. Take another look. Take another look. No, I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm fine. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Well, we're going to have to find out what you really are ashamed of. So I'm going to repeat the question again to you. What are you ashamed of? Have you done something you should be ashamed of? What is it that you're thinking about? What are you thinking about right now? What do you think? What's that? What's that? What's that? In what world is that disgusting depravity a religious experience, you guys? Children couldn't put the cans down. Children couldn't say stop. Children couldn't say no. Children couldn't say shit. We had to sit there and take it for hours and hours ad nauseum, being driven. Let's go start another chain. That would start another chain. That would check another question. And they couldn't be confusing us more. Telling us to think of another lifetime where you really did do something. If this question doesn't apply to you right now, well, take a look at another lifetime. Figure it out. Figure it out. And it's just gross, grotesque AF.
Have you ever done anything criminal? Have you ever knocked down a smaller child? Have you ever done anything criminal? You guys, I mean, So yeah, Mike Rinder, why in the hell were you all into asking little girls and little boys if they ever had done something criminal? Since you were doing things that were criminal, since you literally had policies in your stupid office that you founded, Office of Special Affairs, a real fancy title, you guys. Give it up to Mike Rinder, who can make shit appear nice. The Office of Completely Corrupt, Unhinged, Depraved, Willing to be Felons is just called the Office of Special Affairs. Isn't that great? Doesn't that sound so much better? Doesn't it sound so much better if every time a child gets essayed, we just are calling it out 2D? All manner of rearrangement of words to just sanitize. As long as they sprinkled their little L Ron Hubbard pitch on shit, they were diluted enough to pretend that, yeah, my shit doesn't stink. This piece of shit that I'm putting on the platter is not a piece of shit, is whatever delusion they were feeding themselves. So in what world are kids being interrogated and asked if they've ever committed a crime? Because that is what in the hell these people were asking us inside of those hotels. And why were we being asked for crimes when we know today, as of this year 2024, it couldn't be more clear who in the hell was committing the criminal activity? Been ashamed of your parents? Have you ever betrayed a secret which was entrusted to you?
Have you ever betrayed a secret which was entrusted to you? So for all of you who really think that there is no going lower with these people, you have it right there. Oh yeah, you're an auditor? Okay, great. Go ask that person if they've ever committed a crime. Oh, now you're their auditor. Oh, now keep that secret. Oh, now it's just between you and him, okay? Don't tell anybody. You promise never to tell anybody. You promise never to tell anyone that that person went around essaying 8 other kids. You promise, right? Because you are an auditor and you can launder this felony because you did do technology that is going to really teach you that. So we are getting into the weeds of what Scientology is, you guys. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what makes no shred of sense. In what world is a child locked up in a hotel, unable to leave, being asked these type of disgusting, incriminating, unhinged? I mean, what is this? Is this a deposition? Like, in what world are kids being asked for crimes to incriminate themselves, being deposed with no attorney, with no parent, with no one around to check these MFers, to tell them to go to hell, to tell them to stop abusing kids because their advocacy is nowhere to be found? 2024 is the year, you guys, in case none of you celebrated New Year's. 2024, and kids are still being asked these horrendous, disgusting questions. They're still getting deposed without lawyers. They're still being asked to get incriminated because the Fifth Amendment right doesn't apply to kids. Kids can be incriminated, and who cares?
Have you ever been a coward? Have you spied on your friends?
L Ron Hubbard. I mean, look.
Correct answers mean happy faces. But
look at the ages of these girls, you guys. I mean, just let it really fully sink in, because these are all the kids. Super young. You see the first 2 ones here, they look so young. And the problem is, remember, most of them start so young, and if you see them a little older, it's only because they've been already there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Because, yeah, breaking news. All Scientology executives like them young. Very much like Jeffrey Epstein. You know how he liked them young? Well, you know what? All the executives, the women and the men, don't think it was just the men, you guys. Do not for a second think that inside of these hotels is a male or female problem. They're both utterly deranged. They both go around pretending all of these kids were not kids. All of these kids were adults. All of these kids can get locked up against their will, and we will shit on them if they complain. And we will abuse them more until they stop complaining and just take it. So would love to hear from you, Marty Rathbun, and from you, Mike Rinder, why all these kids were being treated like that. Right about now, we really need to start understanding something, because the more we watch, the more shit is not making a shred of sense.
the fun stops for these children with failure.
There's Serial Ball Melly, you guys. And I think right behind him is Ryan Arbuckle. And I can't recognize that other one over there. But that's Serial. And he's a kid trafficked from Switzerland. His little mother, Barbara, dumped him there at the hotel. Barbara was this woman that was literally looking for rich men to marry. So she then ended up marrying Roberto Santos, a Mexican millionaire, and she literally gave her 11-year-old to Angie Blankenship this time. So don't think it was just Debbie Cook that was into liking them young. Angie Blankenship loved the young. In fact, Angie Blankenship had her entire organization, smaller than Debbie Cook, mind you, but Angie Blankenship's was like top to bottom minors, maybe 85% minors and 15% adults. Think about that. Angie Blankenship currently left the hotels, you guys, but don't worry, she's living it up in Clearwater Beach. Living it up. I mean, Aaron has already done some videos on her. Her drunk ass came to him at a bar, and allegedly she was like, I know all the dirt that Dave has. I can sink him, but I'm getting paid. So, yeah. So, when you see Angie Blankenship frolicking around Clearwater, know that she is also another Ghislaine Maxwell on steroids and crack and coke and every last type of delusional thing that woman has to do to literally take breaths every day, to really pretend, to really become senile of all the disgusting things she was all about for 20 plus years. Angie Blankenship, a top slave owner. All executives were slave owners, you guys. None of them were not slave owners. You cannot be, like Jesse Prince already told us, an executive and not be willing to commit criminal activity, because that's the bonding part. That's the thing that really bonds them all together. Isn't that great, you guys? Nothing like co-conspiring to commit felonies, to really bond these people so close, so tight. Oh no, we're not going to rat you out, David. We'll just complain. We'll just give all the paperclip withholds the media wants to hear, so we secure our payment program for ourselves. Don't worry. We are not going to come clean. We are not going to self-confess. We are not going to try to get any of the law enforcement agencies involved, because heaven forbid they find out that we were traffickers ourselves. We don't want that. We don't want to be Ghislaine's. I mean, we want to be Ghislaine's, but Ghislaine before she got arrested, that's who we want to be. And that's who they are, you guys. They're all just a bunch of Ghislaine's out there holding parties and, you know, living it up AF. Living it up AF without a shred of consideration or thought or anything. Oh, I did that so long ago. I was really trying to help the world. I sacrificed myself so much. One day I'm going to read you guys what Angie Blankenship sent me on Facebook Messenger, just so you can see how out of her mind she really was. But don't worry, I put her right in her place very, very quickly. And her head was the one that was spinning this time, not mine. As much as that woman made my head spin when I was there, a child, completely not able to talk back at her. Because, you know, Angie didn't like being talked back. If you backflashed Angie, she would go from 0 to 100 quickly than a Tesla. So, crazy ass, deranged AF, Angie Blankenship. I hope these videos start arriving to your ears. And I hope you really start processing your trauma right along with all of us here. Because these videos, if nothing else, you guys, will restimulate all of these executives, will out them AF. They have no place to hide. They have no defense. They have none. Literally, the only defense they have is to plead insanity. That's their only defense. According to me, who grew up in a cult and who has not a shred of a clue what in the hell I'm talking about since I only finished 7th grade. Thanks to Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, Angie Blankenship, Debbie Cook, and all of those clowns.
And disobedience.
Look at the age. Look at the size, you guys.
By 1976, on instructions from Hubbard, the first children's RPF was established in Los Angeles. No time off for play, but a children's prison camp with absolute obedience as its goal. One of the reasons for the camp for children was stated in this document. Make it clear to the children.
And you guys, just so you see here where it says all PAC staff, okay, just so you know, and just so we have the receipt. So if ever any of these Sea Org executives want to go, but I had no short of a clue that there was an RPF for kids, all PAC staff. You see this paper here? Guess what these people would do? Every person had a basket. That's how they would get their mail. You don't have your own basket because you have no address, but there was a big room full of baskets. And that's how they would inform you of what's going on. And that's what they would inform you of all the memos that were being put out so that everybody's on the same page. I already told you guys how these people operate, knowing what each other is doing and thinking and coordinating thereby and therewith. So since they did take that definition very serious, that little definition also tells us that they were in a conspiracy, committing daily criminal activity together, all of them inside of the hotel. Stop telling us that it was that one and not this one and this one here and I'm good and you. No, all of them together. They all stood for it. They are all still standing for it. There is no examples of actual repudiation of what in the hell they have done. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be thinking about it. You know, it's all about the adult problems that, you know, they really ran into with David Miscavige. It was just so hard to be David's bitch. It's all we get.
That any form of vandalism, theft, and any other crime committed by a child will be punished by the RPF under aggravated conditions.
Make it clear to the children that any form of vandalism, theft, or any other crime committed by a child will be punished by placing that child in the RPF under severe restrictions, you guys. So going back to the wonderful deadbeat Sea Org member parents that were fully CC'd on this directive, that were full knowing that they were neglecting their kids AF, that their kids were in an infested roach motel. Neglected AF, no one gave an F about them. But oh yeah, don't vandalize or we will put you in the RPF. Oh yeah, don't commit any other crimes because we will interrogate you, make you self-incriminate against your Fifth Amendment right that we don't give a shred of an F inside of the hotel. Make you have no attorney when you're getting deposed by our disgusting, ridiculous, deposing situationships. Criminals are treated better than children inside of these hotels in America, you guys. That is not hyperbole. That is not my opinion. The criminal is getting deposed for 5 hours. They are allowed to have an advocate next to them for the full 5 hours. The Scientology executives didn't give a shred of an F about making any of those kind of exceptions. So let that really fully sink in, that kids are getting deposed. In what world are you being asked, have you committed any crime as a child? And that's not a deposition. I mean, even in depositions, you guys, they can't even ask those type of self-incriminating questions. Because then your advocate would be like, objection, you can't be asking my client if he's self-incriminate. That's against Fifth Amendment. Like, shut the F up, don't answer anything, and next question. You can't ask that. Oh no, but in Scientology, you can ask that. In Scientology, you would have put me as the child and my head would have been put on a pike if I didn't ask that. Or if I missed that they committed a crime for which they have not been arrested. So, yeah, it really did suck to be us inside of those hotels, you guys, in case it ain't clear. These receipts could not be more egregious and disgusting and make us have 1,000 more questions today than we had yesterday, because the receipts speak for themselves. The L Ron Hubbard speaks for itself. The rhetoric is what it is Right, guys? The rhetoric is what it says. Make it clear to the children that any form of vandalism, theft, or any other crime committed by a child will be punished by placing that child in the RPF under severe restrictions. Well, that was my formative years, you guys. From 16 to 18, that was me, except that I wasn't placed in the kids' RPF. Oh no, don't get that shit twisted. I was placed in the adult RPF with self-admitted pedos running around. With me having to sit in front of this disgusting man telling me every day how he was jerking off thinking about me and how he was my husband in another lifetime, and I had to sit there for 5 hours every single day with Debbie Cook, full knowing, with Marty Rathbun, full knowing, with Mike Rinder, full knowing. They all knew they were operating these children's holes. The version of the hole that got instituted on them as adults at the very end of their little, amazing career as slave owners is what they were doing to kids. But you know what? They didn't think that the Tampa Bay Times wanted to hear about that. They really thought Tampa Bay Times wants to hear about David beating us up and humiliating us and putting Debbie Cook in a trash can. I'm glad that Debbie Cook got put in a trash can, you guys. I am so glad that that woman finally got put in her place at the end of her little deluded career. She finally found her place, and then she didn't like it. Isn't that great? Finally, she gets put in her place. Finally, she's in a literal trash can. And then she's like, oh no, this is too much. Give me my $100,000. I'm out of here. And then when 4 years later, her little $100,000 ran out, let me type a little email to violate my NDA so that I can, litigate again. And that's exactly what Debbie Cook did. Okay, 4 years later, she ran out of the $100K. The only person that we know of, guys, that left with $100K, no child ever left the hotels with $100K. We all left with bills. I left with $100K bill, not cash in my pocket, a bill that I literally paid. So
I knew that rather than Scientology being the answer and healing people and giving them greater abilities and making them better humans, it was completely abusive and had no other purpose than to dominate and control people and make buckets of money.
yeah. And then they expose all the kids to that dominating environment, right? Gary Armstrong, confidant of L Ron Hubbard. Your little guru didn't tell you that kids were just adults in small bodies? When his own son died in the desert alone, desperate. So, but again, you guys, it was only until little Gary Armstrong ran into the RPF as the founding father of it, as he says he was, that he really thought, oh, let me whistle blow. And only advocate for themselves and only pitch themselves as the victims and never confess to a single done. What did you all do? Stop. David. What did you do with your own two hands, yourselves? What could be so hard of this pathetic press to pull this string, you guys? In what world? I mean, I tell you, like, if we would have investigated things ourselves inside of that hotel with this level of sloppiness, carelessness, our heads would have been chopped into pieces. But apparently, all of the corporate media, all the people that ask all the wrong questions and go and cradle and canoodle every last consenting adult that signed up to be part of the hotel, that paid to be part of the hotel, that literally bought the pitch by paying cash. Oh, here's some cash for this pitch. Let me grab the pitch. Oh, wow. Kids are just adults in small bodies. Oh, okay, great. Best $100 I ever spent, L Ron Hubbard. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Cameras everywhere, motion detectors everywhere. There's the woman that disappeared back in the day when she was having a beer for herself.
When you look exactly at what is going on, you see a reactionary authoritarian mechanism which restricts certain degrees of liberties. When it is understood that something is permissible, then it may be done. However, I don't accept that they do that for everybody else. And to make this dependent upon a Scientology citizenship, this is written explicitly in their Scientology code. Whether one is a Scientologist and this gives them the right to re-educate people in their own rehabilitation camps and so on. We have had that before, and that does not belong here.
That's right. It doesn't belong, all these re-education camps. But again, you guys, if the people want to be there, then how can they not belong? If the people won't leave, then how can they not belong? If the people won't get rescued, then how can they not belong? If they're all 21 and up, then how can they not belong? Sebastian is confronted by people that tell him all day and all night, you're in a cult, this is a cult, this is a scam. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because they're fanatical about L Ron Hubbard. They're fanatical about propping up what in the hell they're doing. They feel they're accomplishing something. And as long as they're feeling that they're accomplishing something and what in the hell they're doing is legit, because that's why you see the faces when they get confronted with the facts and the questions. You see that blank stare because they are right and you are wrong. You don't know Scientology. You are only here to spread lies. You are only here because people on YouTube are paying you to come and harass us, because aren't we the victims? Watch out for these people, you guys. They play victim very, very well. They make Tom Cruise look like the worst actor in the world in terms of their acting skills of playing victim. They'll find any old excuse to purport that they are the victims of the scam and the sham that they have propped up for themselves that they love so much. So that's why all of this supposed advocacy for adults that want to screw their lives, that want to drain their lives to hell, it isn't going very far because they cannot be advocated for, as this German man talks about his sister. And he recognizes that, yes, it's very authoritative and yes, it sounds like it's gross, but who am I to say that it cannot be done? I mean, I can have that opinion. I can think it sucks. But it goes a lot deeper than that, right? Because going back to the point, you know, all the people that were hanging with Jeffrey and Ghislaine are not having any problems for themselves, you guys, other than the fact that now they cannot wash the blood that's in their hands. That's the only inconvenience. Do you think that people would have stopped hanging out with Ghislaine and Jeffrey had they not been caught? Do you think you could have really gone to, you know, Bill Clinton and said, stop hanging out with Jeffrey, Bill. You really need to stop. You shouldn't be with him. No. That's the answer. Adults make choices. Adults have power. Kids don't have power. Kids don't make those choices. And unfortunately for us, inside of those hotels, these adults went through lengths, real long AF lengths, you guys, to ensure that we always felt we were co-opted, we were part of their scheme, we were willing, complicit, co-conspirators to the racketeering. Well, in this year, 2024, we are pushing back on that ridiculous, self-serving narrative. CC all Scientology executives. CC all Scientology parents that dumped your kids inside the Sea Org. It's you who needs to go to prison. It's you who needs to visit the FBI. It's you who needs to get your ethics in, but this time your legal ethics in, not your hotel ethics. All of your hotel ethics couldn't be more of a scam if you weren't paying a 14-year-old to do your ethics cycle. If Debbie Cook didn't have the bright idea to post a bunch of minors as the ethics officers, because they liked us young, you guys, they liked us like that. We were hand-selected based on our looks. We were hand-selected based on how we talked. We were hand-selected based on our intelligence. We were hand-selected based on how adulticized we were. So before anybody wants to give these adults all the benefit of the doubt that they don't have for themselves, thanks to their little daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard. So if you Scientology adults and executives are getting really pressed right now, really re-stimulated by what in the hell I'm saying, go and check with your daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard. Go and check with him. Open up the books again and read them cover to cover again. This time, apply critical thinking fucking skills. You have no excuse to put them, check them at the door. Like, I got told to put my critical thinking skills at the door, so I really thought that it was a thing. Because that's about how pathetic you all sound today with your little pitch that, oh, we didn't have critical thinking skills because L Ron Hubbard canceled critical thinking skills. Isn't that so great? Aren't we so religious inside of these hotels with zero critical thinking skills, infantilized out of our minds, doing the bidding of a convicted, indicted felon to the letter? Those are the facts that you have to wake up to, Scientology parents and executives. Those are the literal MF facts.
The question I've asked many times over, because of course I've got calls from a lot of people telling me my sister is doing quite poorly now and she has to work hard. I don't doubt that at all. When she's doing that voluntarily, then that is her business. If I now
She's doing that voluntarily, and that is her business. Isn't that great, you guys? I love German thinking. It's like finally someone with brain cells. Somebody with brain cells finally on the record, you guys. Never mind that this man made this statement back in 1999. And a quarter century later, we're just discovering this gem. Something that Mike Rinder has never done a reaction video about. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why he was so pressed to go and, really stump out this critical piece, because you didn't want any criticism, Mike Rinder, and that is your MF problem. If you put your ego to the side and you take the MF criticism and you take the MF oversight, maybe you could have been helped. Maybe you could have been redeemable. But since you didn't bother to do that, since you bothered to really assert yourself and be so confident, like the little con man that you are, by choice, you made that choice. You were a grown adult and you made choices that we're having full receipts. So you're not saying we're confronting you with so many generalities. Oh my God, I'm being attacked, you guys. Why am I being attacked? I'm really just trying to do my best here. Well, you were the founder of OSA, my Grinder. So double check why OSA is still thriving and keeping Scientology alive. And maybe write a book that shuts it down instead of writing a book that just fills your pockets and puts your little delusion that you're the next L Ron Hubbard now. Hooray for you. You're going to clear the planet by doing nothing and pulling things out of your ass that are sanitized so that everybody buys your fake pitches and you secure more interviews where the press is going to pay you for your expert opinion to play dumb.
I'll go in there and get involved. Am I helping her? Am I hurting her? Or am I only helping myself?
Oder nütze ich nur mir?
Those are good questions for all the people that are really wanting to save adults. Are you really helping them? Are you really hurting them? Or are you helping yourself? So the next time all of you have a little urge to go, oh, really, we have to, rescue all adults that, refuse to leave the hotel. Not talking about the ones that want to leave the hotel, you guys. If they want to leave, then fine. Help them leave. I'm talking about the people that are staying there, that are waking up every day and making that choice, as if we didn't take it upon ourselves to leave, as if Jenna didn't take it upon herself to leave, as if Nora didn't take it upon herself to leave, as if Laura didn't take it upon herself to leave. Our choices speak for our MF selves. As soon as we reach the level of maturity where our brain said, we cannot be inside of these disgusting hotels doing whatever in the hell it is that they're having us do, then we left. So yes, you can leave, but you have to move your feet. And all the children that are underneath it, I couldn't have left at 16, you guys. I couldn't have left at 18. I couldn't have left. I didn't leave. I would have needed someone to come and grab me, someone to come and tell Debbie Cook, you are going to jail. You are running a racketeering scheme. You are full of shit. But apparently in America, the status quo couldn't be the thing we give an F more about. Because, Florida exploding with the Epstein saga as we speak, as if the corporate media is not cashing checks for themselves, you guys, because, in the aftermath of it all, they really do want to, talk a lot about all kinds of things that we could really talk about now, that we could just really speak our mind, because look at all these court documents over here, and let's just really inspect them. And, oh, Michael Jackson was going around there. Oh, I wonder if he ever took Lisa there. I wonder if he ever took Riley there. I wonder if they just took a little trip to Epstein and, hi, Lisa. Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing? So, yes, the corporate media today, you guys, thirsty AF. Let's make the clicks. Let's really talk. Let's really pretend we care about this problem. By the time anything else rolls around, you guys, they won't give a shred of an F. By the time their little views go down, oh, people don't care about Epstein anymore. Let's go for something else. What can we pitch? What can we pitch, guys? Let's really think about it, since we don't give an F about trafficking of minors. So we wonder why we don't get anywhere is because the incentives apparently are not aligned. And when you're working with corporations that have no spines, such as ABC News, that have no spines, such as Tampa Bay Times, that literally, God knows even where the hell they are, you guys, LA Times, imagine. The LA Times that literally could be invisible. They couldn't be more irrelevant. They're like literally neck and neck competing with the Tampa Bay Times for the worst newspaper of the United States. So let's really see who gets that award.
4 months later, February 1999, Jochen Körner flew to Los Angeles to see his sister Wiebke again after almost 4 years. They met at a small restaurant in Hollywood. Later, they went for a walk along the beach. That evening, she rode with her Scientology bus back to the world headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs. Now she's a producer there for Scientology recruitment films. She said she did not want to talk over her time in the prison camp with her brother. She does not want to go back to Germany anymore. Madrid, February 5th, 1999. The Spanish state attorney brought charges against 18 leading members of the Scientology organization. The charges include establishment of a criminal association, fraud, burglary, grievous bodily harm, and mistreatment of a Spanish woman in the Scientology prison camp in Copenhagen. The trial begins in the year 2000.
Well, and there you have it, guys. We managed to complete this documentary that came out a quarter of a century ago. A documentary that puts Mike Rinder at the center of the Office of Special Affairs. That puts Mike Rinder right next to the cops when he was running the crisis management operations to derail these people that were doing a documentary, that were trying to investigate, that were trying to find what in the hell was going on with these horrific work camps. And Mike Rinder succeeded, you guys, because these people never saw that there were kids. People never got a hold of that. They saw some kids on the street, and at least they did cover the kids' RPF. Never mind that Mike Rinder, Marty Rathbun, and David Miscavige, the disgusting, depraved men that they are, canceled the kids' RPF. By the time I was abducted and they had a so-called religious, whatever, 501c sham, they got rid of the kids' RPF and they just put us with the adults. So these people always go for, let's make the worst choice we could make. Let's do the most inhumane thing we can possibly do. And that is where we leave this documentary, with you, Mike Rinder, having to become an adult. You are no child. You were no child reading those advices from L Ron Hubbard to really go and break into people's places and break the windows and break the doors and steal this and blackmail here and blackmail there. With your own proteges calling you out, saying you are the reason this shit was alive. As if you weren't handling their PR, as if you weren't sanitizing all the disgusting dysfunction. You called yourself the Watchdog Committee of OSA, WDC OSA. You were the top dog of your disgusting thing that you founded so that L Ron Hubbard really would have been proud of you for having propped up his scheme. Imagine Hitler dies, you guys, and then 3 degenerates pick it back up to wherever in the hell he left it at. And then imagine they got away with doing horrific criminal activity, and then they leave the hotels and then they purport, what's the big deal? What's everyone so pressed about? We were just applying a religion, even though we called it a technology, even though we never prayed, even though we didn't believe in God, even though we were laughing at all the idiots that were paying the $10,000, that were believing all the scams we were selling. Full knowing Mike Rinder, you were now outed for laughing at the people, the idiots that believed you, for laughing at the idiots that thought you were anything other than a pathetic grifter, than a pathetic child abductor, than a pathetic deadbeat dad from hell. So we will continue calling out these parents, you guys, and we will continue holding their MF feet to the MF fire until they actually start repudiating what in the literal hell they've done. All of them as a collective, all of them guilty AF. We don't need the stupid ass courts of the United States to tell us that. Lucky for us, we have receipts. Lucky for us, we have all manner of investigations, half-baked narratives that, just completing with a little bit of context, with a little bit of shining a little light to be like, oh, guys, look. Yes, there was a prison camp, but yes, these people double down and triple down on their unhingedness when they implicating kids. Because we've said this ad nauseum already. If these unhinged men and women would have taken it upon themselves to go, cannot come in, you cannot get drunk if you're not 21 and up. So why in the hell would you able to consume disgusting, idiotic rhetoric from a convicted felon to be put in extremist role plays locked against your will? And how are you all Scientology parents and executives want to start pitching that in reverse? Because that is your challenge. That is y'all's homework. Pitch that audits was not systemic, institutionalized, locking up kids against their will, false imprisonment. Really think long and hard on that one in front of a mirror and see if with a straight face you can explain it to yourself. Because chances are that you won't be able to explain nothing to yourself that's going to make a shred of sense, since you have no defense. But all of you tuning in, all of you becoming aware, all of you caring about this issue, every day we get more and more people that are full of bright ideas to do a lot of things. There's so many things we can do, you guys. And yes, these lives, some people have said, okay, well, what's your solution, Serge? My solution is to expose the facts. Everything else will fall in place. And all of you helping, all of you actually caring about the problem, taking it seriously, dedicating your time, dedicating your attention to this, is what is actually helping, is what is giving all kids in there hope, because these MFers needed darkness to do what in the hell they all normalized for themselves. And today, we already have right here, as we speak, 179 witnesses on this live. 181 people that have gotten a little context that's been missing AF on this entire watered down, washed up narrative to purport that adults and kids all made the same exact choice for themselves. And yes, we have a burning building, ladies and gentlemen. So go and get the MF kids out. The adults can fend for their MF selves. They are the ones that are lighting up the entire building on fire. They are the arsonists. So stop trying to cradle and canoodle and psychologize and and why did you become an arsonist? Were you abused as a child? We don't give a shred of an F. You're setting the building on fire and then grabbing children and locking them up in there. And that's why you are all getting called out on Scientology parents and executives, current and exes. We don't give a shred of an F what kind of status you have. Your statuses couldn't be more canceled, couldn't be more of your scam and your sham. So we don't care if you're OT5. We don't care if you left. We don't care what in the hell you've done. As of the year 2024, you are all in the same bucket of pathetic enablers, grifters, child abusers that are all A-okay with everything that went down. And until we don't have criminal affidavits in the FBI Crimes Against Children unit, y'all have done not a single shred of change. Until we don't have 500 parents sitting outside of all of these organizations saying, no kids, I effed up. I fucked up my kids. I was part of this problem. Then we're going to see that we're starting to get somewhere, guys, because again, it's not even all up to you to figure out what in the hell we need to do. Y'all were not in the hotel. Y'all were not paying to be part of this dysfunction. Y'all were only co-opted to be part of the dysfunction the minute these people saw an opportunity to grift and pitch sanitized, self-serving narratives where they really did see an opportunity to get a little audience and, you know, become a little celebrity for themselves. And let's really sell ourselves as celebrities. We don't give a shred of an F about celebrity. Kids are stuck in the hotels. And your actions show, not your words. I mean, if we go by words, you guys, they claim that they really want to help. They claim that they really hated it there. They claim that they really want to do something about it. But where in the living hell are their actions showing any of that? Because that's what's so missing in the abysmal public record of paperclip withholds. And you guys remember what those are. Paperclip withholds are just simply blabbing points that they've all come up with to purport they really have something important to say since they were the high executives. But every time they open their mouth, all they say is blah, 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 David, and blah, 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 David, and blah, 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 David, and blah, blah, David. So in what world can you build a criminal case when all these literal, willing co-conspirators just go blah, 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 David? And they didn't get caught in the act because they bought the police. They didn't get caught in the act because they kneecapped the IRS. So that's what's really, really becoming super duper clear here, you guys. But the clearer things become, the more armed with solutions we can all become. The more the actual receipts get shown and exposed. So it's not just Mike Rinder saying like, oh, you got, no, we saw the policies, Mike Rinder, of your offices. So skip us with the pitch that we don't know what in the hell we are talking about because we do know how to read and write. Lucky for us, we did learn that. Lucky for us, we did. And today we just read your policies that you were implementing for yourself at OSA. So since those little policies make not a shred of sense compared to how you're pitching yourself today, you are, well, start opening your mouth already and start making MF sense. Question. Let's go to the questions, you guys. Ann Walsh. Sir, do you think some members hesitate to contact Aftermath Foundation because high-ranking executives Mike, Claire, and Amy? Well, you guys, this is what I'll say about this. The same organization board that we had in a sham 501c, the same exact organization board has manifested for God knows what in the hell reason to the same one that we have now that we left. Because we have RTC, we have OSA, we have gold, we have WDC, and we have security treasury. So who's RTC, you guys? Oh, look, it's Claire Headley. Who's OSA, you guys? Oh, look, it's Mike Rinder. Who's gold, you guys? Oh, look, it's Mark Headley. Who's WDC? Oh, look, it's Amy. Oh, it's Matt Pesh. So there's no diversity. There's no nothing. There's all these same people that were at the very top of this pyramid scheme of abuse, institutionalized, systemic trafficking of minors at an industrial size scale that apparently either they don't want to admit that's what they were doing, or they just find it very convenient that as long as they can grift, as long as they can launder their image, as long as they can live out their savior complex, as if they've ever saved anyone other than themselves, for their own public record choices. This ain't our opinion. This ain't us being so critical and tough on you. Those are the MF facts. And y'all could have walked out of that 501c. Y'all could have said, oh my God, this is a sham and a scam, Aaron. We're out of here because we do have a spine and, you know, we don't agree with anything of what in the hell you're doing, and you couldn't be more flawed, and you couldn't be more pathetic, and you couldn't be more out ethics. Remember, guys? That was the whole pitch. He's so out ethics, and now we are going to take over. We are going to scheme and scam. We are going to take this because we really want to help with the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we really have raised, and everyone should really trust us, because why not trust the same people that were doing that in the hotel? Why not trust the same people that we just saw all the receipts here back in 1999 that are not making a shred of sense? Why are we calling this out? Why is it our job, you guys? Why is it up to us to call it out? Because it shouldn't be. This is Mike Rinder's job. This is you, Mike Rinder. You shouldn't need us bypassing you. You have had a YouTube channel where you can go back in your content and you can really explain to us why none of these receipts are adding up in what in the hell you have presented. Because that's what in the hell is called. Receipts don't add up. Then what in the hell's going on? And the receipts are a copy of your actions. So you don't think this is a personal anything. We don't give a shred of an F about you. You couldn't be more irrelevant in our lives. Besides the fact that you, Marty Rathbun, and David Miscavige did take it upon yourselves to spend 10 years with the top attorneys figuring out how to mastermind the sham y'all build so that we could get abducted and you wouldn't see a shred of legal repercussion. Well, congratulations. Because for many decades, you did get away with your scam and your sham and your grift from hell, implicating kids and minors that no one has told you that you need to take responsibility for, and you don't want to take responsibility for, and you don't want to be told because, oh, I contributed so much already. You should be so thankful. I've done all that I've done. We're not thankful whatsoever, Mike Rinder, given the fact that all the kids are exposed to exactly the same level of disgusting derangement that went on when you were the head of the thing that managed to keep this thing alive. So if your organization is keeping this thing alive as your protege outed you, then what in the literal hell are you doing there, scratching your head and purporting that you're really going to help anybody other than yourself? Because right about now, the physical universe evidence is what we have inspected to come with our conclusions. Martha, question, Serge, did they point guns at kids to intimidate? No, they didn't do that, Martha. But they did bring him around. You guys, when I was leaving the hotel, all the security guards had guns and pepper sprays and walkie-talkies, and they dressed like cops, and you know, they were, again, fake cops, fake AF cops. And like what Aaron was talking about that today in the live, that this the guy outside of Streets LA, the security guard there, they act all senior. This is not a security force like, oh, okay, we tell the security what to do. No. Inside of the hotel, the security people are the slave owners and the slave drivers. So they are the ones that are senior to Sebastian, senior to all those girls that you see there recruiting. So they didn't point the guns at us. I don't have a single incident that I can think of doing that. But again, they made a big show and dance. Oh, we're doing this training, and you know, all the security guards would be doing almost like military trainings by themselves. It was all these men. It was, again, another like, you know, like a fraternity of them. Okay. And again, because they're always in security, they would become deranged, and they would become power hungry and power trippy and abuse their power all the time on kids. So even though, you know, they didn't use a gun to point to our head, but we know who they were. They didn't have to point the gun. The gun was there for intimidation purposes, to show us that we were owned, to show us that there could be repercussions for saying no, to show us that there could be repercussions for leaving without getting their permission. So there's still very nefarious repercussions that came with that. But thank you for your question, Martha. And thank you, SB, for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And Robert, I'm praying for your protection, Serge. Expose them. I got your back. Well, thank you, Robert. And thank all of you guys that have our back, that are listening, that are paying attention. And this year we will continue to expose all the corruption that's come from the people that have laundered the image of these executives. And we're going to continue to demand that all grifting executives that took it upon themselves to recruit minors start coming to the table and answering our questions. Because the table has flipped, y'all. The table couldn't be more flipped AF right now. We have questions and we deserve MF answers. And y'all owe those answers. And I know that that's one of the buttons that Mike Rinder has, you guys. Oh, no one can tell me I owe anything. You were the founder of OSA, Mike Rinder. You owe every last shred of child an explanation of what in the hell type of 501c you decided to prop up for yourself, for your own ego mania derangement. So take yourself to therapy if you need to. Right about now, go and make that choice. Go and process some of your trauma, and then go and figure out how in the hell you can start coming clean. Figure that out for yourself real quick, because we're literally just getting started. Literally just getting started with all of these executives. All of them need to answer what in the hell they've done. And the sooner they do, and the sooner they stop abusing kids inside of those hotels, the sooner none of us are going to have these lives talking about disgusting things that we would rather not have to talk about. We couldn't be more nauseated that we have to spend all this time there, but we're going to be more nauseated not doing anything about it and pretending that it's just all going to go away because the traffickers are really going to get incentivized to really do anything. We're no longer kids, Mike Rinder. We're no longer pathetic kids that you all could just, manipulate us with your bullshit pitches and your stupid military uniform that turns out was fake AF. You are all getting called out. You were all part of the team. So start answering the questions already. For any of you that have questions, send them his way. And I know they delete comments, you guys. Literally, I know. But you know what? They can still start getting questions. They can still start being given the question. So maybe it helps, even if they erase it, it's like, maybe it helps them to start thinking about what in the hell they did. Because, so far it seems like they're trying to manage everything by not figuring out what in the hell they did. And who helps when they do that is the scam. The scam is helped. The scam continues. The kids get no shred of help. And, every last kid that's stuck in there deserves to be let out. So luckily, with all of you guys paying attention, we will get to the point when we start getting kids out of that hotel. And we start getting answers, not just from Mike Rinder and company, but also from the Clearwater Police, the Tampa Bay Times, the banks that are really thinking it's a great idea for them to be banking Scientology. All of y'all, the public people that are really donating, Trish Duggan, that really thinks it's a great idea for her to be giving $300 million to these people, because good luck, Trish Duggan, explaining to everyone how you donated $300 million to this disgusting hotel. Good luck pretending you had no shred of a clue about anything, because we would know how much of a clue you do have. And how much blackmail would they have on you to have $300 million of you inside of those hotels? So all of those things will be connected soon enough, you guys. Soon enough, we'll get to that. So I hope all of you have a great Friday and a great weekend. And I will see you guys all really soon. Bye-bye.